Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we talk about all things fandom on this channel, and we talk about it in a positive way. And if that's something that appeals to you, you have come to the right place. We're so happy to have you here today. And today also happens to be Terrifying Tuesday on this channel, where we talk about all things horror. And today we're going to be talking about 5 Stephen King movies that deserve a remake. So let's jump right into it. Alright, with The Running Man out at theaters, and I watched it and I need to get my review up of it. And it will probably be done in a short video form. But I look forward to telling you guys what I thought about that movie. But today we're going to talk about other Stephen King movies, because one of my highest rated videos is actually a video that contemplates the sequel of Christine that was supposed to happen. You might remember that Halloween Ends was going to take sort of this page from Christine. And the plot kind of did feel like you were watching Christine in some ways. It was definitely inspired by that, which ultimately led to a bunch of people wanting a Christine remake. There was a rumor it was going to happen. That is still very much up in the air. I thought that we would take a look at 5 Stephen King projects that are already out there as movies that could just use that fresh coat of paint, that brand new remake, to really get them out there in the world and make them appreciated. Now, of course, all of these movies that I'm going to name, I expect that you will watch the originals if you haven't seen them, because they are so brilliantly done. The originals are all good in their own way. So here it is, 5 Stephen King horror movies that must get a remake. But we're not going to talk about Christine, because that is still out there in the world, maybe getting a treatment somewhere. Hopefully it comes out. We're also not going to talk about Cujo, because Cujo is another one that is supposed to be getting a remake. But that being said, here are the 5 Stephen King horror movies that deserve remakes. So coming in at number 1 is Dreamcatcher. And Dreamcatcher tells the story of 4 friends that stand up for someone who can't defend themselves, and their lives are forever changed. But later on a hunting trip, they're overtaken by a blizzard and something really weird happens. An alien force arrives and the friends must prevent the slaughter of innocent civilians. And there's something about their heroic deed that sort of comes into play. Now, that's keeping it very simple. The original movie that happened in 2003 did not really do the book justice, but it was an okay movie. It's one that I can watch from time to time. I do get some enjoyment out of it, but it really, like I said, just didn't stand up to what it could be, and therefore it is on this list for that reason. Coming in at number 2 is one of my favorite Stephen King stories that was adapted into a mini-series, and that is The Langoliers. Now, The Langoliers was done in 1995, and in the tale, 10 airplane passengers awake to find themselves alone. Everyone else has vanished. And what ends up happening in this is that they find out that there are these creatures that exist kind of in this time between time. It's really weird. It's so cool. They're monstrous. They're horrible. But that being said, the original miniseries suffered from really early CGI. It is a great little miniseries that I wish was available somewhere, but as of me recording this video, I haven't been able to find it on streaming. I think you might be able to find it on YouTube, Possibly, but, don't quote me on that, because I really don't know where you would go about finding this movie. However, it is one of those movies that is so out there and so strange. And the story that it was based on was kind of out there and strange as well. Now, this movie could benefit from a remake simply because the CGI has improved so much since that first movie came out. Since that mini-series premiered, the CGI that we get now has become so much better. So for that reason alone, this is on the list. And if you haven't seen The Langoliers, I urge you to try to find it and check it out. It is pretty good. Coming in at number 3 is Needful Things from 1993. Needful Things tells the story of a man who moves to a small town in Maine and sets up an antique shop, and bad things begin to happen. He's selling the people exactly what they want the most, but his ideal purchases come with a price that involves more than just money. This is creepy at its best, and it really did work. The cast of the original movie from 1993 was amazing, and a lot of the plot of the movie was cool. Now, it did stray from the book, as always. If you're wanting to see how it really turned out and how things really went down, I would recommend reading the book. The book is always better. But if you don't have time or you're not a big reader, if you're more of that movie fan, then yes, Needful Things is a movie to check out, but it also is one of those movies that would benefit so much from getting a reboot at this stage. And coming in at number 4 is Thinner. Thinner is a 1996 horror movie based on the Stephen King story. And of course, as always, if you can read the actual story, I would recommend you check out the actual story. However, this is also one of Stephen King's most underrated movies. Billy Halleck is an obese lawyer who accidentally hits a gypsy with his car after his wife distracts him. Given his influence, he's able to sweep it all under the rug, but the victim's father places a curse on the heavy-set man, who then begins to lose weight. This is also followed by some other creepy events. This movie was great at the time just because of how they handled the horror of everything that happened to him. And the story's a lot better. But even that being said, this is one of his most underrated movies simply because I think that people just didn't know what to think of it. It's one of those movies that you're either going to love or hate. However, the cool thing about this as a movie, though, is that it would also benefit from the effects that you could use today versus the practical effects and everything that they had to do back then. And coming in at number 5 on our list is one of my personal favorite movies. This movie is available, I believe, right now on Amazon Prime, at least to buy. You can buy this movie on Amazon Prime pretty cheap, but I don't know if you can actually watch it there for free. But this movie is one that I thoroughly enjoy, and that is Silver Bullet. Now, Silver Bullet is actually based on a novella that Stephen King did called The Cycle of the Werewolf. And this movie came out in 1985, and it tells the story of unexplained murders that occur in the quiet town of Tarker's Mill. The residents decide to hunt down the killer, and they kind of turn vigilante, and a lot of them end up dead. Those who don't are no closer to finding out who did it, but there is a boy in a wheelchair played by Corey Haim who actually does. His name is Marty, and he encounters the werewolf one night and then begins to piece the mystery together along with his sister and his uncle Red. Now, the novella is a little different, but that being said, this movie goes at the top of my list for Stephen King things that I would like to get to see remade, because I really do like werewolf movies and I don't feel that we have enough of them. Now, it is also a great film in of itself. It's nostalgic, it's 80s, cheesy. It was wonderful. So the original movie is very good, but this could also benefit from having a remake now. With all the Stephen King projects getting remade and with Running Man coming out in theaters, wouldn't it be fun to see something like this being redone for today's audience with better special effects? And all of the movies that I mentioned on this list, I think would benefit from the special effects that they could do now, from the CGI that they could do now. The use of CGI has taken over film, and with that, I think that the improvement upon what could be done then, in addition to practical effects, could definitely benefit these movies, and these are movies that I would love to see get remade. But that being said, this is where I'm going to leave it off to you guys. Are there any movies of Stephen King's that I left off this list that you think deserve a remake at this stage? Are there any that you definitely want to have remakes or even be done at all that have never been done? Leave me that comment in the comment box below letting me know what you think. And don't forget to share this video with all of your friends so they can be a part of our conversation as well. Because we're all just horror fans having this wonderful conversation, and I want to hear from each and every one of you. And if you like this video, or if you like positive content in your feed, you're going to want to hit that like button so that YouTube knows that you want more positive content in your YouTube feed. It can't hurt, it can only help. So let that algorithm know that you want more positive content by hitting that like button. And then, if you like our channel, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell right next to it, so that you don't miss a single video we do. Because friends, at the end of the day, I know it and you know it. Fandom is family.